In today's news, it is official, the US government has just flipped the switch on XRP, and in more ways than one. Today's inflation data came back very bullish. Scott Bessent, the US Treasury Secretary, confirmed crypto is going to significantly change the world. Ripple just had a very interesting development in their lawsuit with the SEC. Yes, somehow it is still ongoing, but it will soon be over as Paul Atkins is finally making his move. Now, our first source comes from Donald Trump himself, asking the US Supreme Court if he is allowed to fire Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is crazy, but it also makes sense because Trump desperately wants to cut rates and to print money, and Jerome Powell is just not having it right now. And truth be told, even I am starting to question as to why. The reason Jerome Powell stated as to why the Fed hasn't cut rates yet or printed money yet, QE, is because they are concerned about Trump's tariffs and what they may do to inflation, which, justifiable reason of course, but as we can see from the White House, they stated that inflation is down, jobs are up, and the golden age of America is underway. And believe it or not, they are completely right. For example, last week, the non-farm payroll numbers came back at 209,000. So 209,000 new jobs were created, and that was 82,000 more than expected, which is very good news. And then we can see from today's inflation data, the US core CPI came back at 2.8%, which is 0.2% above the forecasted, which is very good news. And even the regular CPI inflation data came back at 2.4, which is 0.1 above the expected 2.5. Again, very good news. So this is exactly what we wanted to see. Inflation on both side of things is lower than expected, and therefore this lines up nicely for the Fed to start cutting rates and in due time turning on the money printer. We have more jobs as well. So this is very good news. We've also seen smart money across the board, the likes of Cathie Wood and leading employers from JP Morgan. They are pleading with the Fed to step in and fix the crumbling economy, start printing money, start cutting rates. If things get worse, considering the data we've just seen how good it is, we should see an emergency rate cut. I'd like to believe we could at least, but otherwise, there should be a very strong chance now of the Federal Reserve cutting rates at the next FOMC meeting, which is in early May next month. Right now, the economy is actually looking good despite the economic crash with the tariffs. The moment the money printing and rate cuts start happening though, in my belief, the tariffs news may become a thing of the past. The FUD that these headlines are bringing, which is disastrous as we can see, they may have less of effect, as all traders know that rate cuts and money printing is great for on-risk assets like the crypto market, and this pump could supersede all our expectations as the United States are evidently extremely bullish on crypto. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent can be heard in this interview comparing the transformation with crypto to Bretton Woods. Huge news. Take a listen closely.
Economic historian and someone who's been in markets for 40 years. I actually think I'm starting to look like it now. I think we're also at a unique moment geopolitically, and I could see in the next few years that we are going to have some kind of a grand global economic reordering. There's something on the equivalent of a new Bretton Woods, or if you want to go back, like something back to the steel agreements or the Treaty of Versailles. There's a very good chance that we are going to have to have that over the next 4 years, and I'd like to be a part of it. I've studied this. I think it's kind of a unique skill.
The Bretton Woods Agreement back in 1944 established the post-World War II international monetary system. It created institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. So in essence, Scott Bessent is predicting a major overhaul of the global economic system similar in scale to the Bretton Woods Agreement within the next 4 years with crypto technology and blockchain, and he wants to be a part of it. And I believe XRP, HBAR, like Good Morning Crypto highlights here, and I believe XRP, these assets will definitely make an integral part of this new historic economic reordering. Smart money, as we can see, is getting ready. They are flipping the switch on XRP and crypto evidently. And for more information on what I'm personally doing, in particular Born, you can follow me here in the VIP group at wop.com/coin-factory, keeping all of you informed of what my moves and targets are. I'm building realistic market expectations through institutional alpha research documents while also actively trading and making money in this market. We also offer a limited time offer of a 7-day free trial period, so you can get a little peek behind the curtain and see what we've got going on in there. There's so much more to come in this space and in here as well, so again, wop.com/coin-factory if you're interested, links down below in the description. Now the reason why I stated that the US government and the smart money they are flipping the switch on XRP is because of their legal victories against the old SEC. Therefore, they have gained more favour and invested interest from these major financial institutions. We are one step closer now, as we can see Mr. Lynch just stated in the hearing that the SEC case versus Ripple has just been dropped to allow for innovation to grow. They are literally using Ripple's lawsuit as a benchmark for institutions to start adopting crypto to let innovation grow. This is bigger than we could even imagine. And we have a very interesting update about the lawsuit here from James K. Fillon and Meta Lawman. As we can see, both sides, so Ripple and the SEC, are for the first time representing to the court that an agreement in principle has been reached. History in the making once again. So therefore there is literally no reason to believe that there will be any problem getting commission approval for the deal, for getting this lawsuit to be dropped, for getting a settlement deal between Ripple and the SEC. Now, the somewhat downside does mean that the SEC Ripple case appeal is on hold. So the court is waiting for another related legal case to finish before it continues. So any legal documents that were supposed to be filed on April 16th, which is 5 days away from now, will not be filed anymore. This will mean a delay in the process. However, it also means that this lawsuit is reaching its official conclusion, and it may happen sooner than we can expect, as Paul Atkins, pro-Bitcoin, Trump's SEC chair nominee, Paul Atkins is officially confirmed as the new SEC chairman. Very, very bullish, because Paul Atkins also is bullish on XRP, as we've proven all the time in the past on this channel. But to prove it once more, we can see here from Smoke in this document right here. This document right here confirms that Paul Atkins will entirely drop the SEC's case against Ripple. Very bullish news once again, and it is very likely that this will lead to even more adoption and a massive price rally for XRP, as it will also be official that XRP is the most trusted asset in the world and will also benefit from other major policies that America will likely implement, which is to make all US based crypto assets completely tax free. XRP would get so much adoption from this. These institutions will swarm to XRP like bees to honey. Take a listen to this interview here to understand why it's so big.
US-based crypto companies, now Trump is out there saying, hey, maybe we could eliminate or at least give better tax breaks when it comes to capital gains if you're invested in crypto companies that are based here in the US. So it goes back to that pro-America, make America great again theme that he's going for. How would that play out in a perfect world for a crypto investor?
Well, and Paul, you nailed it. This is part of his agenda to get people investing, building, buying, manufacturing, all the above in the United States. Mm-hmm. And so one way to do that is to say, hey, if you're a crypto investor, buy some tokens that are based out of the United States. And when you go to sell it, after 12 months, by the way, capital gain is after a 12-month hold. So you traders don't get, gleamy-eyed here. But after I hold this token for at least 12 months, I might get a reduced capital gains rate. Mm-hmm. And that's going to help. And why would he do that? Because it stimulates the economy in the United States. It creates jobs in the United States. What extent? But that's the theory. And I think in a perfect world, it'd be exciting. I just hope that the tokens I like are, going to be here in the US.
Yeah.
Always number one, my investors out there, you invest in what you know is best. Who cares if I can save between 15 to 20% on the tax bill, tax rate? I want to buy what makes freaking sense. Then it happens to align with a US-based opportunity, great. But let's not chase that. Let's chase what we know and is going to make us money, and then hopefully they coincide.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the point, is you look at some of the projects that we talk about here on the show quite a bit. Most of them are, well, quite a few of them are based here in the US, even though it seems as though there's a lot of the blockchain companies now vying for the idea to make sure that Trump and the administration knows they're a U.S.-based company. Ripple, you got guys over at Xrp, obviously, and then places, projects like Solana, Avalanche, et cetera, that have kind of gotten that. Hedera is another one.
I wasn't lying when I said that the United States seemingly has flipped the switch on XRP and in more ways than one. All the catalysts look very, very bullish for XRP, and in particular, the Paul Atkins one. Now, all we have to do is wait for the Senate to send Atkins' confirmation to the White House, where Trump will sign off on it. Once that happens, Atkins will be officially sworn in. The timings on the next steps is, unclear at the moment, but I am sure it's only a matter of time, and potentially it'll be in time to help swiftly end the Ripple lawsuit, to help XRP start to rally in value. And truth be told, I also believe Atkins may probably fast track or help fast track the submissions and integration and admissions of the crypto regulatory frameworks in America, the market structure bill, and also the stablecoin bill as well. Which once again we can see from smoke here. This document, Regulatory Outlook from cfbenchmarks.com, states that we anticipate that stablecoin legislation will pass before August recess, with the final bill taking elements from both, being both the House and both the Senate bills. US institutions could begin announcing entry into the stablecoin industry, therefore, by the fourth quarter of 2025, kicking off broad consumer adoption as a result of the improved transparency and consumer protections. This means we have roughly, give or take, 6 months left until institutions ape their trillions of dollars of capital into crypto, into Bitcoin, and likely also into assets like XRP. A lot more to come. We've got not a lot of time left, truth be told, but it's going to be extremely bullish. And for me, the regulatory frameworks will be the market top indicator. That's what really, really matters. The tariffs is noise. This stuff is what really matters. More's to come, so do your own research, or better still, come learn a hell of a lot more in the CoinFactory VIP group, link down below once again. And as always, don't look short term, think long term. And I'll see you in the next one.